This video is the first of a number of prediction videos I will be discussing for the upcoming Season 8 for Game of Thrones. This video may contain spoilers for those who are not up to date with the show series Seasons 1 through 7. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe button for any future videos. Thank you, and on to the video. Hi, I'm Raylene, and welcome to Khaleesi Clues. It's been a while since I've been able to create any new videos, and I apologize for that. Not that I have a big following or a big fan base or anything, but for the few people that may see my videos and enjoy the theories that I come up with, I apologize. It's been a really crazy summer for me. I've been out of town more than in town, which is nice, but it's just been really crazy. So I haven't been able to actually video any new theories or anything, but I have been working on them. I have tons of things written that I will be hopefully getting out here in the next couple of weeks, and this is part of it. It's kind of a funny story because one of my theories happened to come from a dream that I had one night while I was out of town, and I woke up the next day and I was thinking about my dream, and I thought, nah, George, he wouldn't do that. He couldn't do that. And the dream kind of weighed on me throughout the day, and it was pretty bad. I mean, it was like, I was pretty like, ugh, that's not good. So I started to do some research, and I called my mom and was talking to her about it, and she was like, no, that they wouldn't do that. They couldn't do that. But then I started thinking about it, and I thought, I don't know, Mom, I think it's really going to happen. So I started doing some research, and I've come up with some clues that maybe it might possibly actually might happen. So not that I'm happy about it. I really didn't like my dream, but I have some of the best Game of Thrones dreams. I mean, I live, breathe, and eat this stuff. I can't get enough of it. And then I have these dreams, and then I wake up and, like, one time I dreamt that I told Jon Snow he was a Targaryen. This is before he even knew on the show. So it was great. It was one of the best ones because I love Jon. He's my favorite. So, but hopefully you'll be shocked at this dream because I surely was. But in order for me to tell you about my dream that I had, I have to start prior, because if I tell you what my dream was about now, it will ruin some of the predictions that I have for other characters in the show. So I'm going to be going over some of the things about Tyrion, some predictions I have for Cersei, Sansa, Arya, Jon, the Mountain, the Hound, Lyanna's tomb, and maybe even Jaime. So it just kind of keeps growing, because as I write the theory down, I'm finding like more ideas and thoughts that go into it, and so it kind of branches out to other characters, and which I absolutely love it. So but hopefully you like it, and stay tuned for my thoughts and theories, and it'll probably come out in like sections, because it's, like I said, it's a whole bunch of different characters. So I'll probably try to like break the video as like it bleeds into each different character. So hopefully it'll turn out okay. There still seems to be a pretty big debate about Tyrion Lannister from Season 7. The big question being, did he or didn't he betray Daenerys? And not only that, but what exactly went on off screen? What brought Cersei back to the table to state her intentions of supplying her troops in support for the Great War? Even though we all know now that she has no intentions of actually following through with that support, what exactly is she up to? I dwelled over this for some time before I figured it out, or at least I think I figured it out. I think what happened off screen is going to have some really big repercussions for a lot of characters in Season 8. I have stated part of this prediction on many different channels in the comments sections, and also on some live feeds. I've had some good responses to it, so hopefully I will have the same feedback or more for those that may have not seen or read it before. This is what I believe went down off screen. Let's start by stating the obvious. Cersei is very aware that Tyrion's weakness is his love for her children. Regardless of how much animosity may transpire between him and his family, Cersei especially, he still loves his family and has always tried to do what was best for her children. It's like that old saying, blood is thicker than water. So Cersei is aware of this weakness, but we also have to remember that she hates Tyrion and wants him dead. Don't be fooled by the fact that she didn't have the mountain strike him down while he was right there in her chambers. That took a lot of willpower for her to hold back that order. Believe it or not, Cersei is very smart. Smarter than I ever thought she was. Cersei knew if she killed him right then and there, that it would mean the war was on, and it would start right there in her own backyard with 2 fire-breathing dragons at her door. She would not win if she succumbed to such a poor decision. Instead, she played her cards, and Tyrion fell right for her hand. And this isn't the first time that she has outwitted him either. Like I said, she's smarter than I thought, and she is very good at playing the game. Like her words to Ned, you win or you die. You've got to remember just how badly she wants him dead. Actually, she wants a fate worse than death for him. But I'll be getting to that later in my Season 8 predictions. She hates him not only because their mother died bringing him into the world, but he is also responsible for the death of their father too. She also blames him for the death of Tommen and Marcella, feeling that the loss of Tywin left the Lannister family open and weak. Most importantly, she wants him dead because she full-heartedly believes he is the Valonqar. Yes, you can't forget about that crazy Maggie the Frog prophecy that has been plaguing Cersei's mind her whole life. She's been trying to change that destiny for a very long time. For one, I believe that she has been trying to get pregnant again for quite some time now. If Cersei has another child, it would put her mind at ease, thinking she has changed the prophecy or that the Woods Witch was possibly wrong in her prediction. The scene where Cersei was talking to Qyburn when he first came to King's Landing with Jaime, Qyburn had asked if the symptoms had abated, and she had said, yes, gone completely, and dismissed him. I figure it was one of 2 things. Either she was aborting a pregnancy from Lancel Lannister, or she was suffering from symptoms of menopause. I believe that's why she was so angry with Jaime. Later in that episode, when Jaime was trying to seduce Cersei, she quickly turned him away. When he asked why not, she said, "You're too late," which left Jaime looking completely puzzled. One of 2 things was going on with her. I think she was likely pregnant with Lancel's baby, but possibly too far along to pass it off as Jaime's child. Jaime and Lancel did have similar features since they are both Lannisters. If Jaime had made it back sooner, she could have kept the baby by Lancel, and Jaime would have been none the wiser, hence altering the Woods Witch fortune for Cersei. That whole "The Seed is Strong" book that Ned was reading that eventually got him killed is probably the closest thing they have to a DNA test, and Maester Pycelle wouldn't make a very good Maury Povich, so I think Cersei's little secret would have been safe. The same could be said if she was experiencing menopause symptoms. Jaime was gone for basically 2 seasons. Who knows how many years passed in that time? Cersei could be blaming him for the fact that if he would have been there during that time, she would have probably conceived another child by him, again in hopes of breaking the prophecy. So now we know a little about Cersei's mindset. Let's talk about Tyrion. I know there are a lot of people out there who believe Tyrion may have betrayed Dany, or they believe that he has struck some deal with Cersei to have her child listed as Dany's heir to the throne, since Dany is believed to be barren. But none of that really made any sense to me. Number one, I never once believed Mir Mazdur's words were a curse to Dany. I always believed it was a prophecy of a child to return to Dany. If you haven't seen my theory about that very subject, please watch the video titled The Return of Khal Drogo, the Mir Mazdur Prophecy. Secondly, Dany would never agree to such a thing. And besides, she's going to find out soon enough that she's pregnant by Jon. Let's not even forget to mention the fact that Tyrion has no power to make any such agreements with Cersei. Cersei is well aware of that fact too, and she would never go along with Tyrion's empty promises. Truly, I don't believe Tyrion would betray Dany or Jon. How many times do we hear in Season 7 from Jon or Sansa stating that they trusted Tyrion, that he was a good man? Now I'll tell you what I do believe. I definitely believe he promised Cersei something in return for her troops' support. Something Cersei wants very, very badly. Something that only he has control of or power over to give. And that is himself. You heard me right. Sadly, himself. As Tyrion once told Dany, that's the kind of self-sacrifice that makes for a good ruler. He's willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the foreshadowing for all of this and more. Remember the conversation between Cersei and Tycho Nestoris, the representative from the Iron Bank? Cersei had mentioned to him how she had hired the Golden Company and that she, too, would like them to recover some things that belonged to her. One of those things that she feels belongs to her just so happens to be her little brother, her Valonqar, that slipped away in the middle of the night instead of dying for the murder of her beloved Joffrey. I think she knew Tyrion was innocent of that crime all along. She may not have known it was Lady Olenna that actually had him poisoned, but I believe she knew it wasn't Tyrion. It was just a perfect way to kill him off and finally be rid of him. His death would give her a sigh of relief, thinking she had sabotaged the Maggie of Frog prophecy, changing her own destiny, and possibly saving her own life. It most definitely would have changed her wardrobe. Just think, no need for turtlenecks or neck armor anymore. Seriously though, you may be thinking, now why would Tyrion go and do a thing like that? You have to remember Tyrion's state of mind and emotions right now. He is at an all-time low. Starting from his childhood, he has the guilt of being responsible for his mother's death, bringing him into the world. A father and sister who despise him, loses the very first love of his life and watches her get repeatedly raped right in front of his eyes. Then, most recently, he is married off to a beautiful young woman who refuses to consummate the marriage and basically says she may never want him as a lover. Then he is unrightfully blamed for the death of his nephew and sentenced to death for a crime he didn't commit. Narrowly escapes that only to really commit a crime and murder who he thinks is his father, and even if he turns out not to be his father, it is still the man that raised him and he has thought of as his dad. As a bonus, he finds his lover, Shae, in his old bed waiting for his horrible, whore-hating father, Tywin, who is literally probably his worst enemy his whole life. Well, besides Cersei, and well, maybe Joffrey too. Then he ends up killing Shae out of parts self-defense and also rage. That alone is devastating if you ask me, but no, it still gets worse for him. He decides to go on the run and walks away from everything he knows and has, goes through hell, narrowly escapes having his manhood cut off, to finally get to where he is at as Dany's Hand of the Queen, and then somehow seems to fail at every turn while trying to do a good job. So now his new boss and infatuation is completely doubting and disappointed in him. This man is ready to give himself up for the greater good. He knows by turning himself over to Cersei, he is signing his own death warrant, most likely a slow death to boot. Again, like he said to Dany, that's the kind of self-sacrifice that makes a good ruler. Those are his words and his attitude. So yes, I believe that Tyrion has promised to surrender himself to Cersei if she will give her troops in support for Dany and Jon in the great war to come. He's willing to sacrifice himself in hopes that it will give Cersei and Jaime's child a chance to live for a future. I believe that's what all that fretting and stewing look he had outside of Dany's chambers the night he saw Jon enter her room. I believe he was going to go talk to Dany and express what he may have done. I think he needed to confide in someone, but yet again is reminded, or at least feels, as if he is unworthy and unwanted, useless as a man or lover. His troubles are nowhere near over yet either. His actions, even though they are so very selfless, will have some really big repercussions for Season 8. Once again, it is not going to go down as he thinks it will, as we are all aware that Cersei has no plans on holding up her end of the bargain with Tyrion. And this is where my Season 8 predictions begin to escalate. Stay tuned for my next video, because there is more, so much more to come. Up next, I will begin with Jaime and Cersei. Thank you so much for taking the time to view my video. Please watch for the next video in this series of Season 8 predictions for Game of Thrones. You are not going to believe what I think is in store for us. The next video should be about some of the predictions I have coming up for Jaime and Cersei. I am a new channel, so please remember to comment, like, share, or subscribe. Thank you again, and have a great day.